What up, what up, what up, what up, people? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Chime in for a little bit, get y'all used to seeing me again. This heat down, it's hot. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Notifying viewers. We'll let this thing do it organically. What's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's it going? Today we're gonna have a conversation. About to let y'all know what I got coming this year. Something I got working. Brand building, of course. You know I'm back. I've been going for a while. I've been going for a hot minute. I've been in and out since like September. Was real active and slowed down. I'm gonna share with some of you, some of the new people, why I've slowed down. You know, most of my conversation is about business, branding, marketing, and whatever the case may be. And of course, I talk about random topics. You might find me in some people's lives, providing with my opinions and insights and whatnot. But typically on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm on live for our podcast for Dear Business Owner with Dwayne Williams, and we talk about business. I specialize in branding, marketing, operational development, and structure, whereas Dwayne specializes in taxes, business structure, and some of that get started stuff. What's going on, Shannon? How's it going today? Today's one of them days I'm working from his house. I'm working though. Some people don't work well from the house, right? They get distracted very easily. I'm not one. I'm not, I watch TV in the evening, but during the day I might put the news on most of the time as I am here. But nevertheless, I just wanted to kind of talk this morning. I got to start my series. I'm about to build my YouTube channel and start pushing my personal brand a little bit more. Like I said last year, I got some delays. But nevertheless, for those, I just wanted to tell the story. I've been getting a lot of people wanting to know the whole story about why I was out for such a extended period of time, since beginning of September. So I'm going to tell the story. You know my rule. I don't care if it's 2 or 2,000 people. Nevertheless. So here's what happened, right? So I am what I classify as the typical business owner. We're just trying to make it. We're trying to really put together a plan to build legacy. We want to leave something back for our kids, our family, whatever the case may be. So I've been doing that since I've been doing it since 2017. That's when I've been doing it. Off and on, like the average person. In 2017, started a business which was pen publishing agency. So I did that, right? And when I did pen publishing agency, I was actually publishing books for people. So I still do that on occasion. It's very strenuous doing books, and I am a published author as well too. So I was just helping people write books, edit books, and the whole 9 yards. And I was working with the hospital back and forth, and I kind of scaled my business back, let my office space go, and went ahead and continue working for Ochsner's hospital. So did that, and then 2020, which was, y'all recognize as COVID, I had an epiphany, and I said it's time for me to just do my own thing full time. So I left my job. We had another kid, left my job, and my daughter's born with sickle cell. So it was a conversation with my wife and I, like, one of us got to stay home. She's a career-minded educator, so she's a teacher. She's working for a school, so it's like, look, it's better for her to stay on the track record. I am more of the entrepreneur mindset. So she went there, and I'm at home, and I revamped my business. I started doing like flyers and shit like that. Making money. One thing I'm not going to do is sit around and be broke, right? So I made more money at home the first month than I was in my regular job, just over broke, right? So the next thing you know, I decided to keep pushing it. So I pushed it, and her job laid her off. It was like, wow, do I go back to the car business? And for those that don't know, car business can be very lucrative. I was easily a 6-figure earner in the car business. So I made plenty of money while I was there, and I could have just went back to it, but I didn't want to do that anymore. So I turned right around and did my business. After about a month or two, I got an office space, and I got 2 offices. As a matter of fact, it was joined together, and I had my daughter in the office while my wife was working. So she found work again as a teacher. They opened up a new school, and she started working there. my daughter and I, for the first year of life, she was in the adjoining office next to me. So I had it set up, TV, pack and play, feed every day, leave at 3 o'clock, go pick up my other daughter when she gets off the bus. The dad girl thing. So I did that. So then turns around, then everything's going well. And I'm going to fast forward. We're 3 years into the business, doing good. I'm part of local organizations like the Chamber of Commerce and district boards and all of that. And life is kind of moving in the right direction. But, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, anything happens at any time. Any given time, anything happens. You got to be ready for that. So a lot of time when I'm teaching, I'm talking about being prepared, but also persevering past some of your challenges. So what ended up happening was September of this year, September 7th, I had this unction that I need to schedule my doctor's appointment to get my prescription updated for my glasses. So I went ahead and scheduled that and went there. And the one thing they do is they check your blood pressure. Now, I come from a family with blood pressure problems, right? And with that being said, I expect my pressure to go up every now and then. So I monitor it here and there and try to make sure I got good habits to keep it down. Well, this particular day when I went to the eye doctor, they checked my pressure. It was 203/153. Now, if you know anything about blood pressure, that's high as hell. So I made up my mind that I would go home and rest. So after I'm at the doctor, he noticed I had a small hemorrhage in my right eye. So he said, come back in 3 months, we'll check it out. It's probably from the blood pressure. So what I did is I checked out from the doctors, got my prescription updated, and I went home and rest. I said, okay, I'm just gonna rest and give it a day. So the next day, I go to my office and I have a blood pressure machine in my office. So I check my blood pressure and now it's 204/143. It's still high. So I'm like, okay, this is crazy. It's way too high. It's a stroke level. So what I'm going to do is after my last appointment, I'm going to go to the clinic, get some meds, get back on meds for a little while, and, you know, continue pursuing my regular life. Well, I get to the clinic and, of course, they review me, and I'm told the magical thing is your blood pressure's so high, we can't give you a pill to bring it down. You're going to have to get on an IV drip. And I'm like, wait, what? She's like, yeah. So I'm at the clinic, so I get transferred. I go across the street to the Heart Hospital emergency room. So I get there and they put me on a drip to try to regulate my blood pressure. And meanwhile, they asked me, hey, do you have anything else going on? I said, well, I got a slight headache, nothing major, but it is what it is. So, of course, the minute you have high blood pressure and you say you have a headache, that triggers them to do a CAT scan or MRI, but in this case, it was a CAT scan. So I get the CAT scan and I'm back in the room in the ER, and I'm laying there for about an hour with this IV drip. This is on September 8th now. And I'm laying there with an IV drip and the doctor walks in. Now, that crazy thing, the doctor walks in and says, we found a mass on your brain. Now, you got to be mindful. I'm in here for high blood pressure, and the doctor walks in and tells me I have a mass on my brain. Now, this is some weird things to hear when you've been healthy for the most part of your life. So I'm sitting there, right? And I'm in shock for 5 minutes. The initial 5-minute shock was like, I got a what on my where? Now, for those of us that, some of us use our brain for a living. That's how we make our money. I'm thinking like, wait, I have a mass on my brain. What else is wrong with me? So I'm in shock. I'm in fear. Every emotion you could think of that's not positive was going through my head at that time, right? So I'm sitting there like, how is it that I have a mass on my brain? I'm healthy, and those that are closest to me, like that's not something that you would have going on. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So because of the mass on the brain, I had to get transferred to the main hospital. So they transferred me to the main hospital. I'm in another emergency room. This is all in one day, right? So I get to this other emergency room at the main hospital, Our Lady of Lourdes, and of course, they're going to do another CAT scan and MRI. So I'm laying in there, and I have hypertensive emergency, which is high blood pressure that's uncontrollable because they're trying to figure it out. I have a brain mass and they do another CAT scan and the MRI. Now 2 doctors walk in. Hey, sir, we find you have a hypertensive emergency. You have the brain mass, which you know about, and you also had a stroke. So I get 3 for 1 on September 8th. I was like, what in the hell? Had no symptoms of a stroke or anything. They said it was very small, which is why I didn't have any symptoms. But on September 8th, my life changed, that day. That day, I was informed that as healthy as I have been, for reasons unknown, you have uncontrollable blood pressure, you have a stroke, and you have a brain mass. Now, I was thankful that day because, of course, had I not had high blood pressure, I would have never known about the brain mass. So I spend roughly the next 9 to 10 days in the hospital. And all they're doing is they're trying to figure out which medicine. While I'm in the hospital, there's numerous tests that are going on. There's all kinds of tests. I mean, they shoved a tube down my throat, did an ultrasound on my heart. They put air in my heart to see if I had a hole in my heart. I mean, you name it, they did it. Numerous blood tests. And all my levels came back pretty good for everything. I didn't have anything that was bad, nothing that was detrimental. It was like, okay, we don't know why his body's doing all those things. Now, to top it off, I started noticing after about 48 hours, my IV lines started feeling very uncomfortable. So then at this point, my freaking, my veins, believe it or not, my veins are clotting. So the hematologist is like, why is his veins clotted? They couldn't figure out. So I have hypertensive emergency. I have a stroke. I have a brain mass in my head. And now my veins are clotting. So I'm tripping. I'm like, now, if you saw me, nothing about everything internally going on looks like the external. I'm excited. Nurses are having fun. We're having a good time in the hospital because I'm not going to sit out there and be miserable. So they run all these tests. I get a clean bill of health, but I leave the hospital. By the time I leave the hospital, I'm on 7 freaking medications. 7. I think 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, 4 or 5 of them were for my blood pressure. And it became important, in the reality of what I was dealing with was right in my face. I want to tell the first part of that story to let you understand the message here, right? The message is, men, pay attention. It's important for us to not ignore our bodies. It's very important because women will go to a doctor, they'll check on themselves, make sure they're healthy. But us men, there's a tendency. My father died at the age of 43 from heart problems. I refuse to do that. I have young kids. I have a kid as old as 35 and I have one young as 3. And I purpose in myself that I need to make sure that I'm paying attention to my body and not taking it for granted. As men, especially African American men, we have a habit of saying, I'm going to be all right. We feel like we have the necessity, or we have to be all right to take care of things, especially if you're a responsible man. You want to take care of everything. You don't want to be sick. You don't want to count any days off on your job, JOB. And I want men to know that it's important to go check yourself out. If something's not right, your blood pressure's not right, your sugar's not right, it could be the beginning of a whole lot of things. And you don't know what those things could be. Had I not responded to my blood pressure, now I did delay for a day, but I knew better than to sit down with a 203 over 153 blood pressure for days on end and end up having a stroke and become very limited on what I do. So my call out to men is, if your body doesn't feel right, listen to your body. Especially now, look, most importantly, because you as a man in society doing your job the way it's supposed to be done is important, but also because if you have kids, if you have a spouse, if you have family members, you have a mother, father, it's important for you to respond to what's happening with you and maintenance your body. I tell men, you should maintenance your body like you maintenance your car. Most guys are not going to let his oil get bad, his gas get low. He's not going to let the tires. He's going to make sure those things are in prime condition so that it can make the trip.
So I would tell guys, make the trip. Have these real conversations with your doctors about your body, because who knows what's going on. Had I not responded to my blood pressure, we ended up with a tumor in my head, right? Which called a schwannoma. It was on my cerebellum. I don't know if you can see it. I got a scar on the back right here. It's pretty long right now. I had a tumor, and it's probably been there better of 15 years, right? What happened at the time back then, over 15, 20 years ago, I thought I lost my hearing to the use of a weed eater. I was in the military for about 9 years, a little bit over 9 years, active duty. But I thought I lost my hearing to using a weed eater that had a bad muffler and not having hearing protection. At the time, I lost hearing in my right ear, most of my hearing. And I also have tinnitus, which is the ringing constantly in my ear, about 4,000 hertz. And what I did is I assumed it was from that. What I learned is that in a schwannoma, which is a tumor I had, which is close on the cerebellum, is that those were some of the side effects of the tumor. Was that the tinnitus, the hearing loss. I also had equilibrium issues. You know, I just kind of found myself stumbling a little bit when I walked. My balance wasn't exactly, I knew something was wrong when it came to that, but I assumed it was all tied to the hearing. So what I ended up doing was learning to live with it. You know, men and women, sometimes we try to learn to live with those little bitty nuanced things that can be inconvenience and bother us, and say, oh, it's nothing, or we blame it on something, rather than getting to a doctor and get him to do a thorough check on what it could be. In this particular case, all this hearing loss, tinnitus, balance issues were all tied to a tumor that had been growing for like 15 years. It grows slow. And the tumor can tie to one or two nerves. One of the nerves is hearing and balance and things of the such. And the other one could be the facial muscles. My tumor didn't tie to my facial muscles. So, I ended up having this tumor growing for a long time. So lo and behold, I'm in the hospital about 9 days. And the main reason in the hospital was to get the blood pressure regulated. So I got the blood pressure regulated. Now the bad part happens. Now I feel bad. Right. This is the crazy thing. Lesson. Sometimes you have to feel worse to get better. Some of y'all ain't gonna like, some of y'all don't like that part, right? Sometimes you have to feel worse to get better. I hate taking medicine. I do not take medicine hardly ever unless absolutely necessary. So now I leave, I'm on 7 freaking pills a day. Now I'm looking at my blood work, everything looks good. There's no justifiable reason I should be on medication other than my blood pressure is acting the plumb fool. So I'm getting used to this medicine now. Some of the medicines have side effects. Well, all of the medicines got side effects. I'm fatigued, I'm weak, I'm dizzy, I'm sleepy, all of this, and I'm not used to that. So what that does, that impacts my I would say it negatively impact my mental health. It's a frustrating thing to not be able to function the way you normally function, right? Because when people think about health, we forget to think about our mental health. I'm still dealing with it because I can feel myself frustrated because my body's not doing what it normally does. Good morning, my friend. What's up, hobo? So it's an everyday balance to not lash out on people, to talk properly because you're in your head. Because you gotta imagine, I got a whole lot going on with my body with this medicine. I got ringing in my ear. It's just a lot going on. And on top of that, I'm an entrepreneur. I cannot solicit any business to get money. Now, the good thing is I do have some accounts that are repetitive income. That's good. It keeps the business afloat, but I'm a go-getter. I want the business to grow. I'm trying to expand so I can, get bigger places, get people working with me. And now I'm stuck. Being trapped into a body that you cannot control the reaction of it is a horrible feeling. It didn't feel good. And there was nothing I could do about it. And I had to take this medicine. The minute I don't take the medicine, blood pressure skyrockets. I'll be back in the hospital. I got young kids, and that's not what I wanted. So it was hectic. And on top of all of this, getting used to this medicine, right? Waking up every day. I had to take the medicine 2 to 3 times a day. Everybody I met knew immediately something's not right with him. My face doesn't look the same. The way I talk's not the same. It was a lot of, this is a different king. This is not the same person. And the bad news for me was I came out the hospital mentally and physically feeling worse than when I went in. So that wasn't a good feeling for me, getting used to that. And at that point, one of the things that I do, I talk to a lot of people, some people with severe mental health issues, and try to encourage them to stay on the meds, because I worked in a mental health facility for about 3 years. And I actually got a chance to see what it felt like. I wanted to stop taking the medicine so bad, but I knew my blood pressure wouldn't sustain it. But I knew I had to give my body a chance to adjust. So guys and girls, know this. If your doctor prescribes a medicine, you're going to have, and even if you don't like it, you don't like the side effect, because I'm telling you, I had plenty of those. Side effects like, my nose feels like I have a cold. My mouth dries out. I'm dizzy. I'm extremely fatigued. I'm sleepy. I mean, it was miserable. I'm just getting okay with my medicine right now. So it was a transitionary period. You got to take medicine for a while to get your levels right. And then I can reduce them once my body is adjusting, which I think we're at an adjustment period now. But I'm going through all of this, and at the same time, I'm having to schedule to get a tumor removed from my head. That was the other part, right? In my mind, like, what am I doing with this tumor? How bad is it? What's going to happen? And you let people know what's going on, which I'm very transparent, right? And before I get into the other side, I'm not going to do all of it in this one video. I wanted to share this part. You learn a lot about the people that you're around when you start having severe illness or serious illness, right? The people you're around, I found out that people don't know how to respond to you all the time. A lot of people are cliche when it comes to it. The old saying that say, if you don't know what to say, don't say nothing at all. When you get this kind of sickness that hits you, it impacts you not just physically, but mentally. You feel that some people should just keep their mouth closed. Don't say anything. Like, for example, right? People knew I had the high blood pressure. There's an assumption that it's always just your food. I was in the hospital and I was eating regular food. The doctor said you got a regular diet. They ran all the tests. They ran every test possible, and all my levels, cholesterol, everything was good. Heart's good, no blockage. So they put me on a regular diet. So of course, hospital food sucks. So I'm eating regular food, and of course, I'm taking pictures on my Facebook, and people like, don't eat that. That's bad for you. It might be why you got to. People will make assumptions about your diagnosis and why it ended up some way. Is I found out that people they really want you to be miserable when you're sick. That's what I found out. You like, my happiness was bothering some people. It's like, this is me. Y'all, the me y'all meet, this is me all the time. If ever I'm not the same, I am influenced by something other than reality. It might be I had some drinks, I'm on my medication, something. If I'm not the excited person that I always am. I'm excited about life, guys. Even in the tough times, because I know that somebody's got it worse. But I found people don't know what to say. People are not as genuine as we think sometimes. And then there's some very caring people, right? So some of the people I met in the hospital, like, okay, number one, is family. Not all your family is family. Some of you judge family by the blood running through your veins. I judge it by the familiar relationship of care. I like people that care, that check on you. You ain't got to check on me every day, but just every now and then just to see how I'm doing, because we all got busy lives. People have spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, kids. They got a lot going on, and jobs, JOBs. So I understand that. So I had very few people that checked on me in the hospital as far as family blood related, right? And let me tell you something. You ever get sick, you better be okay with not everybody coming checking on you. You better be okay. Now that doesn't mean it won't bother you, but you better understand the nature of people. I had friends who at least called and pick up the phone and shot text messages to me to see how I'm doing, make sure I'm all right. I had people who just became clients actually come to the freaking hospital and bring me food. That was awesome. Like, they said they wanted to meet me, and this is no better time to do that. And then you had what I call absent people. People you just knew was going to reach out to you and didn't hear anything from them. And for different reasons. I knew I had one friend that's pretty cool. She's one of my client and friends, and she had just suffered a loss, and this was too close to home for her, what I was dealing with. And I knew that's what it was. She didn't have an excuse. She had a reason. And if you read my book, you know the difference in between the two. It was weird. And the one thing I'm going to tell you this, if you don't know, is that strong people need support too. I found I had quite a few of my friends all said the same thing to me, which I learned something about myself and about the way people perceive me in my town, is that I'm almost viewed as like a superhero. Not that I have magic powers, but I'm a very strong person. I'm always there for everybody. If you're that person that's there for everybody, always got a good word for them, push through everything, your community or your closest people view you as a superhero. They were still in shock, couldn't believe I was dealing with what I was dealing with, and didn't know how to approach it. And what I did is I had to have a real meaningful conversation with some of my closest friends. I had to call them. And some of them were reaching out to me. They had my phone number, reaching out to me on Facebook, and I was like, who does that? You got my phone number. I said, look, strong people need people too. Understand that. I said, it's good to get a phone call, a text message, a visit, a flower, a card. I said, it's good just to know that someone's thinking about you. And they hadn't pieced that together. They thought, he's going to be okay. But even though I'm going to be okay, and I am okay, and I've pushed through a lot of the stuff, it's good to have people check on you, if that makes sense, right? So if you have strong people in your circle, or if you're that strong person, find it within yourself to have conversations with people to let them know that you need support too. No matter how strong I appear, it needs to be reinforced. And I need to know that I have people that care about me genuinely. I need to know that I have somebody that's going to be there for me, right? So that was a conversation I had with several people, and they all told me, says, King, you're like a superhero to us. It was just hard, like what you tell Superman when he's down, So it is like, I got it. I understood how difficult it was to find it, to reach out. You were still in shock yourself. And you learn that when somebody ends up with a serious illness, it doesn't impact just the person that's ill, but though that's the primary one, it impacts everybody around them. Now, here's the challenge. You have to remember, when someone close to you is ill, their emotional response is the priority. That was a conversation also that we had, that they're the person who's the priority. Sometimes people, one person in particular had a great conversation, was that they tried to encourage a sick person lashed out at them. So they from that point on, they just left people alone. And I said, look, it's not up to you to determine the reaction of the sick person. The sick person is the one that's actually dealing with it emotionally and physically. And they may not have the right reaction, but at least give them that grace. You have to allow, if you reach out to a sick person, they cuss you out, give them that grace. Allow them to feel bad. You know, I told them, says, you have to allow me the opportunity to feel good or bad, and it's nothing personal. It's my right, and let me, because I'm a very giving person. You know, I will put my feelings aside to try to make people feel better. Yes, I'm a tough ass and an asshole, but I'm also a loving person. If most people that know me know, I'm more of a clown than anything else. Let people have their reaction. It's okay, especially with something that's serious. Look, dude, I found out I got a whole tumor in my head. So let me be mad if I want to be mad. Let me be upset. Let me call you a motherfucker if I want to. Don't take it personal as I'm processing, right? You understand that in the time you find out you have a type of illness that you've never had before, you're going to experience grief. And grief is, in my book, mentioned again, you having to let go of the old version of who you thought you were and adopt the new version of who you are. So the old version has to die. So that's grief process, the feeling, denial, acceptance, bargaining, depression. You know, you're going to feel all of that. And sometimes you're going to go back and forth. That was the joke, right? Hobo, I told people that I was growing a second brain. I'm going to make humor out of it regardless. But because I make humor out of something, because I process something, because I'm handling something, doesn't mean I can't use your support. I can't use your feelings. So it was interesting seeing how people were more willing to salvage how they felt based on how they thought you might respond to them. And there was a lesson learned, is that I'm gonna say it just blunt, like, fuck your feelings when you're not the sick one. You know, let the sick person have their moment. You know, especially if they've never felt down and out, or they're not down out too often. Let them have their moment. Let them feel bad. Let them react. Now, does that mean they have the right to trample all over you constantly? No, they don't have that right. But being mindful of someone getting news of something they didn't expect, and all of the burden that they have to carry. You know, like I said, at the time I found out, I got this little being growing inside of my head. This is how I make my living. Then I got to run my business, and then I got to have surgery. Then I got kids, and then what's going to happen on the backside of all of it. It was a lot of stuff I was processing. Though I processed well, it didn't mean I didn't need someone next to me to say, how you doing? And the other thing was, you know, people feel like, well, you got a spouse, so you're good. No, I want as many of you mother suckers around me to tell me it's going to be okay. That helps. I want as many of y'all to check on me. Stop by the house. Call me. Email me. When somebody you know and you care about is sick, reach. My message for today: learn to reach out better. Don't make excuses. When I was dealing with a life-threatening illness, and you'd be surprised how many people did not reach out. And we're not even done with this whole story. This is just the front side of it. It was horrible, man. And the last thing I'm gonna end this conversation with was the one cliche statement that a lot of people say when someone's sick. Take a guess. Type. What do you think everybody says? The ones who do talk to you. I ain't gonna give you a lot of time. I'll just tell you, but this is the thing. Everyone says this: if I could do anything to help you, let me know. Now, check this out, right? If you could do anything to help, let me know. They don't realize that they're putting a burden of thinking about everything they need and what you're able to do on the person who is processing their illness. Now ask yourself, and I've probably said it before myself, I know I have, does that make sense? And the answer was no. When you get this type of sickness that I had, you know what you wish people would say? And I actually had some people say it. This is what I can do. Could you use it? Right? Because if everybody said, if there's anything you could do to help, let me know. What if I told them that I need $1,000 from everybody? How many of those people could come through? See, the thing is, when someone is ill, you as a person have certain things you can do. You are capable of doing, and it's best. My lesson learned, take it from the person who was sick. Offer what it is that you can do. I had some friends who own restaurants or food trucks, and they knew, look, I don't have all the time. I got to sit around business. I got family, but I can go bring him some food. And because he wants to eat a decent meal. And they did exactly that. I had another friend who, they make a specialty tea. They gave me a packet. So I can watch the kids. I can do this. Some people say, look, I got some money. Here you go. What the kids, whatever it is you can do, offer that to the person. Take the burden of thinking about how you can help, because I'm going to tell you this. There's 1,000,001 things going through a sick person's head. They got bills to pay. They got a household to run. I have kids to manage. One's in the senior year of high school, going through some challenges with his grades, trying to get that done. I got a young daughter with sickle cell. I got an adult kids. I got a lot of shit going on, right? And so does a lot of people sick. So if you really want to help somebody or offer your helping hand to somebody who is ill of some degree, serious illness, I'm not talking about a cold or a flu. I'm talking about a serious illness. Think about what you could do that could be of a benefit to them and offer that. That would be the lesson I would give you about dealing with someone who's ill, who's trying to process a type of illness that is, it could be terminal depending on what happened, right? And anytime just so y'all, for those of you who don't know, if you got to have a surgery and you're going into anesthesia, then it's always 50-50. So I always call it as, if you got to have surgery, it's terminal illness. But nevertheless, that's the beginning of my journey. And I just felt compelled. I wanted to share that this morning with you guys about why I was out in September. I was doing that, and then now I'm back. So now I got to start putting together. And that was just in September. So as a business owner, you do the math. In the hospital in September, and I'm back. I went back to my office in the first couple of days of January. So there's a lot of story to tell in between it that I plan to do. I plan to get my YouTube channel back up and running. So I'm gonna come back here and get you guys, all you beautiful guys that stood here and listened to the story, to listen. But if I could leave you one thing, guys and gals, men and women, if your body has something going on, check it out. You never know what could be going on. And don't just settle for the surface thing. I know we talk about high blood pressure, diabetes, and the basic things. Start looking a little bit further into being able to manage your health and check to see where you're at, because you never know. I would have never pictured or imagined that I had a tumor in my head, and it wasn't small. It was pretty big. And I don't want you to be fearful either. Don't be fearful. Just be curious about your body. Get out of the drama world and learn about everybody else's business and learn about yourself. And I've always been a student of me. I want to learn my body, how it functions. I look at every little mark on my body, because I want to live. I really want to live. Like I said, my father died at 43 years old, and he always said be better than me. For those that are curious, I am, December 31st was my birthday, and I made 48. So I'm pushing 50, and the doctors were impressed with that. They said, you're definitely healthier than most people your age, and they couldn't imagine that I was 48 at the time, inside and out. But I want to keep being Benjamin Button. I want to keep looking young. I want to keep being healthy, because I want to be able to contribute to my kids a legacy. And I also want to be able to give to my community. And when I say community, I don't mean just where I live at in the city. I mean to you guys on TikTok. I'm gonna be honest with you. The people on TikTok, it's an awesome community for me. I love talking to people on TikTok. I love sharing. I love helping businesses. I have several clients on TikTok. And I want to be able to do this for a long time. And I want it to grow. I want you to watch my brand grow. I want to help your brand grow. And I want to keep doing this. And when you hear old wise people say health is wealth, I'm here to be a testament to tell you it is. your health. It doesn't matter how good you are at what you do. If your body fails, then you won't be able to do that for the long term. It's only a fad and it's only temporary. So this is, the key behind my success is going to be how healthy I am, how healthy I think. And as much as you can, try to improve your health. That's what I'm doing. I mean, look, even though I got the bill of health that my insides are just as good as the outside, look, I'm still trying to improve the food I put into my body. Look, y'all, I'm from Louisiana, so I'll make a gumbo in a minute. Now, they got some side effects from my surgery we'll talk about later, so y'all stay tuned if you're not following me. But I'm going to get my YouTube channel up, so follow me here, and then I'll try to come back and do a video and start sharing the full story, and probably even share some of my recipes and some of the cooking that I do too, because those that really know me know two things about me. One of them is I love to cook at home. I'm not a chef. I just like to cook at home and share some of the recipes that I do and how I prepare food. And I'm also an Oreo fanatic. Big Oreo fanatic. So you're going to learn that. For those that are just meeting me, everyone calls me King. I go by King, and I'll explain the name for those that ask that question as well too. We'll talk about a whole lot of stuff. I'm all about transparency. I'm into fashion as well too. So we'll just have some fun conversations. I think it's time this year to get people out of the drama pocket and get into conversations. I like to talk about a lot of different things, and also being on your live too. So go ahead and send me a follow. Look, and I'm not doing this for the money. I'll make my own money, but if you want to send gifts, that's all fine. Don't need them. Nice if you do. Doesn't matter if you do or not. But nevertheless, follow me. I follow back, and excuse me. And when you go live, look, I do some random live presentations like today. And sometime it might be in the evening. I'll join your live as well too. I don't mind being a guest on people's lives. I get offered many times to do that as well too, because I have a big brain. I used to have two brains, but now I got one. We're going to talk about that later. But nevertheless, it's time for breakfast. I took my meds already. Time for coffee, time for breakfast, and get my day started on websites. Oh, by the way, got to do a little plug for myself, right? I am the CEO of Penn Business Solutions. If you are interested in branding, marketing, and also I do life coaching and personal development, professional development too, www.pennbusinesssolutions.com. That's PEN businesssolutions.com. I do websites, I do logos, I help people develop social media platform programs and whatnot. I do all of that stuff that it takes for your small business to grow. That's my bread and butter. I do it for a living, not part-time, not a freelancer. I started as a freelancer, but I do this full-time. I'm just taking a day where I'm pacing myself. Today working from the house. I got an office space here in the Lafayette, Louisiana area. Actually, I got 3 offices all together. But nevertheless, if you do need assistance in your professional development with your business, boom, hit me up. And we do have some people in this live. You scroll through, check them out. There's some business. Shakia does a lot of printing stuff. She has a great website where you can order stuff if you are into sublimation or screen printing or whatever the case may be. So there's quite a few people. So in my circle of people that hang out, if you see people hanging around me, it's a good chance they're in the business, they're serious, so check out their pages as well too. It ain't just about me, it's about all of us in the community that we build. So let me get off of this live, and I will check y'all later. I might get on a little bit later, nevertheless, but I got work to do, so I can't get too distracted. So y'all have a beautiful day, y'all stay blessed, and check you out later. Peace out.